All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
And welcome, fellas, to the latest edition of Real Talk. I am the host here, Mr. Bond Chronicles, and we got some great men that we're going to have getting into it tonight. I know when y'all saw us on Monday, I said, don't worry. We're not going to talk a lot about football because the Super Bowl is not until next week. Well, the NFL said, hold your horses. We'll be right there for you. But before we get into it, I want to shout out everybody. Freddie, what's going on, man?
Man, not much. Glad to be on here on the Real Talk set where I can bring nothing but the real talk, where I can educate you gentlemen, because that's what I do.
Yep, that is what you do with your Freddie facts. We know all about those here on this show. We got a new to me, maybe old to y'all, Whip Dog. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, hold up. You don't just introduce the big Whip Dog like that, man. You know, I ain't going to take over your show and call it the Whip Show just yet, but I'm going to introduce myself. First of all, what's going on, everybody? This is the big Whip Dog from Detroit, Michigan, host of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, a.k.a. the Whip Show. And just in case you was wondering, the champ is here. You see it? The champ is here. So I talk about whatever. Wrestling, sports, football, it don't even matter. I was talking about getting all the women. That's what I do. I'm Whip Dog. Let's go.
My man. A pleasure to have you. We're going to get into it. And last but definitely not least, my man, Jay McLovin. What's going on, bro?
You're muted, Jay.
Jay, you're muted. We got to hear what you're saying. Did he mute us?
Hey, listen, look, much like my wife does, I am muted most of the time. Listen, I cut about every other word that the Whip Dog said because he was yelling and he didn't have a good clear mic, but I'm going to take it as this is a bad man and I'm not going to mess with him. The Whip Dog is the man. Hey, listen, real quick, Black History Month. I'm gonna give a little Black History Month out there because I want to put this out there real quick. 1971, University of Georgia had 5 black men introduced for the first time ever to the University of Georgia Dogs football team, and they were Mr. Horace King, Larry West, Chuck Kennebrew, Clarence Pope, and Richard Appleby. And I will tell you this, gentlemen, 50 years later, you went from 5 African Americans to damn near 3/4 African Americans and a championship later. And let me say this. Back in the day, Mr. Appleby, and now this is loosely translated, but he basically said, hey, listen, we weren't screaming racism. We weren't screaming this, that, and the other. We just went out there and played ball, and we thanked Mr. Dooley for bringing us in and allowing us to do what we do, and he made it happen for us. And let me tell you something, man. That's amazing. And listen, this is what needs to happen, folks. We just need to be inclusive. Stop being so damn segregated on every freaking thing and start being inclusive. Because when inclusivity brings productivity for everybody. I'm just saying, man. It's my 2 cents. Black History Month, go power.
And y'all said I was hollering on the show, man. This guy's ready, baby.
I come out loaded. That's how we do, Whip Dog. We come out loaded.
I'm gonna send you a Whip Dog T-shirt, but it's made out of kente cloth. I got you, my guy.
Hey, listen, I will wear that thing, smoke that thing, drink that thing, eat that thing. I don't care. I will wear it.
Whoa. Wait a minute.
Hey, listen, I got one of those DNA tests back. Have you ever done the DNA thing? You need to do the DNA thing. But I got my DNA thing back, and I am 5% Rastafarian. So I'm just saying, put some respect on Bob Marley, okay? Put some respect on Bob Marley. That's all I'm saying. I'm out of here.
I was about to say pause and ask which part, but never mind. I don't want to know. Not my business, baby. Man. Not my business.
I'm with you though, man. We here. We good.
We are off and running, and I love it. I love it. But in the spirit of Black History Month or Black Future Month, for those of us who've tapped into that, we have a huge issue going on right now. I thought Tom Brady was going to be the headline for a while, and that seems like a long time ago. If you guys haven't talked about it, we haven't talked about it on this show yet because we aired on Monday, but Brian Flores has come out with a lawsuit. So this is something that obviously has been in the works. He is suing the NFL and a couple of different franchises. And basically he's saying that they played him in the interview. They brought him in knowing they had given it to somebody else based on text messages Bill Belichick had sent them. He's talking about they, offering him $100,000 to lose games, to take vacations, like just all kinds of bad. And when you really look back at it, I remember last year when they benched Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I was like, what the heck are they doing? And you look at some of the other things that's going on, and it starts to make a little bit more sense. And so that's kind of a brief segue, but I really want to give you guys some time here to get into this. Obviously, I have a mixed group here. But Freddie, go ahead and start us off. What are your thoughts on all that you've heard from the lawsuit, and even Hugh Jackson coming out and saying what he said? Kind of what are your thoughts?
All right, so Ray, I'm pretty sure you haven't been updated. Yesterday, I woke up as a New York Giants fan. But after all this went down, I decided I can't root for that team anymore. Wow. I can't root for a team that stands for that. Because if you stand for that, you believe in that. That's your belief. I can't represent a team that believe in when it comes to racism or whatever you want to call it. But this has been a problem. This is nothing new. This has been a problem that's been going on for years. When this Rooney Rule that they have, I've been saying it's BS. This Rooney Rule, it doesn't help anything. It's a cover-up. It's something to show, I'm gonna make it seem like I'm doing something, that we're trying to implement change, but it's not doing anything. What it does is it makes you interview a minority, but that don't make them eligible for a job. That's not getting them hired. What if these allegations are true? It's sad and it hurts to know that as a minority, a team can waste your time, your money to get on flights to come to these teams for interview, to not even have a chance to get the job. It's not even the fact that you didn't get the job. It's just the fact that you didn't even get a chance to get the job. And what makes it worse is, he came into the job into the interview thinking he had a chance. He thinking that he had the job because he got a text from Bill Belichick, who I understand it can happen to anybody. It can be both names are Brian, okay? But Bill Belichick next time have the last name connected when you have two of the same people in your contact list. Because simple things like that can throw everything off. And about the Dolphins and his owners paying $100,000, to lose games, that's cheating the integrity of the game. And if that is true, they need to remove him as an owner. If what Hugh Jackson said about the Cleveland Browns, if that's true, they need to remove them as an owner. And hey, Roger Goodell, what you can do to bring change. If that opens up two positions, open up in the NFL, let's see if you hire a minority, or let's see if we can get the same results. Because it starts with ownership. It starts there. But if they do remove them, I will keep my eye open and I will follow that and see who they will hire.
Hey, real quick. Hey, one more thing I wanted to add, and I meant to add this in my introduction, and I'm sorry I didn't get to add this, but it's very important. Do you guys realize this week that Black History was made once again? Yeah, Black History are heard again. We just made history again. If you don't know, this week was pivotal for Black history. If you don't know that, it's also pivotal for women's history, right? Because if you don't know Trinity Rodman, by the way, that's Dennis Rodman's daughter, which, by the way, is very freaking phenomenal as an athlete. She just got awarded the $1.1 million 4-year, makes her the highest paid woman ever in sports. By the way, if you don't know who she is, if you don't know her accolades, because you're like, well, you know what? She's 1.1 million. What exactly did she do? Let me tell you what she did. She's 19 for one thing. She's 19 years old. She's a forward, and she plays for the Washington Spirit women's soccer league team. And so she basically was drafted number 2 in the 2021 draft. She had basically, what did she do? She scored 7 goals, 7 assists. Her first year there, they won a title. So she gets drafted, and the same year she's drafted, they win a title. She's got 7 goals, 7 assists. And if you don't know who she is by now, you should know this, that she's number 1, she's African-American. Number 2, she's a woman. And number 3, she made history this week alone. And that's something we should celebrate. And I say we should celebrate. We should celebrate in a time of where maybe some things in NFL aren't so celebratory.
Right. Exactly. And I want to jump in right now.
But I want to say this. Let me say this. But I want to say this to what Freddie's talking about. Brian Flores is a guy standing up for a principle that can make history yet again.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Whip.
And I want to jump in behind that. And as I stated in my intro, I'm actually from Detroit. And I was reading the transcripts. He even mentioned the Detroit Lions. Obviously, we've had a horrible culture here in football for years.
Oh, yeah.
But
absolutely.
Thanks a lot, man.
I'm just sorry. I mean, it's been bad. Look, Detroit is where careers go to die.
Man,
let's be honest. Let's just call it spade a spade. It's where they go to die.
I don't know if you saw the video with Gronk.
Have you not been on 8 Mile?
That's a whole other story. But
we'll talk about that in a second. No, Whip Dog. Answer the question. Have you have you not ever been on 8 Mile?
Of course.
Okay, well then you know that's where careers go to die.
Oh man. But I do want to touch on what he said though, and he was talking about even with Caldwell. Now for years. After Wayne Fox, which was in the 80s, the Lions have had losing seasons for like 20 years. We get Caldwell. We actually had winning seasons and made it to the playoffs, which was very uncommon for the Detroit Lions. Essentially, right after that, he gets fired after having a winning season. B-Flow talked about that in his transcripts as well, just saying like, well, how the hell did this man get fired? But all the other coaches we've have had losing seasons over and over and never got cut. I mean, so obviously it's some truth to what he's speaking of. Now I was listening to Busted Open Radio earlier, whatever. Sirius XM Radio, and they were talking about, I forgot who they interviewed, what coach it was. He tried to say what B-Flow was talking about is absurd and everything. Bro, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Come on, man.
Yeah, I agree. The proof is in it. And which for me and Whitbog, I don't know about you, but for me, I really felt like in this whole crazy chaos of the Giants, the Broncos, now the Browns, Detroit, the Giants, all these teams, right? The NFL had a chance to come out and take a strong stance, and they did not. They actually made a stance in the favor of the ownership. Goodell had a chance to come out and say something that could be positively driven. And what does he say? He comes up with a generic statement. Okay, you want to put out a generic statement because maybe you got to do some research to come up with a more well-thought-out statement. But you put out a generic statement, let you know you're checking into it. But no, not only does he put out a generic statement, but then he includes a line that we think these are probably false allegations without no merit. We can't support these allegations because they have no merit. You did not need to put that freaking tagline at the end. It's retarded because now it's not necessary. And the NFL,
but that's what they do. That's what they do, man.
I know. And the NFL took a situation. And let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm going to tell you where in a minute when we talk about the Washington topic, where Washington screwed the pooch on how they could have helped out the situation, and they didn't. Washington is such a bunch of – I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't know the Commanders is a freaking wrong name, you don't know your damn history. Because let me tell you something. You got the Redskins. Well, who killed the Redskins? The freaking Commanders. You had a chance. You had a chance to do something that nobody else has done, and that's tie in our nation's capital – with the African American community in the Red Tails of the Tuskegee Airmen. You had a chance to give a team a name that had substance that could help out the NFL in a time of obscurity and put it into a better place, and you chose to go with a bullshit crap generic name that meant nothing.
But see,
I'm just saying, Dave Stoddard, again,
you're asking him to do something.
I want to give Whip a chance to finish. Go ahead, Whip.
Oh, no, I was just going to come back from what he said, and he's absolutely right. They never do anything. We go back to the Kaepernick thing. Look, they whatever deal they cut,
absolutely,
they cut behind the scenes and made him sign an NDA that he couldn't even talk about it. I mean, so what they do, well, we're going to put Jay-Z up there, or we're going to make the NFL have rappers at the Super Bowl. Like, that's going to just change. Okay, everything's right. You're not fixing the problem. You're trying to feed us. You're trying to feed us food that think we're going to be okay. It doesn't work that way, dog. So I get what you're saying. I'm glad you're standing like you're standing, but it doesn't change nothing, man.
No, I know. And by the way, Jerry Jones, kudos to you coming out and saying that, what you said. But you know what? This is not a time for speaking. This is a time for freaking action. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jerry Jones missed the bus too because he had a chance to bring in a guy like Brian Flores. I'm sorry, Mike McCarthy, you're garbage. You should have been freaking fired a long time ago. You should have never been hired. But he had a chance to say, you know what? Hey, Mike, you kind of blew the whole call at the end of the game. Maybe you're not really our guy. We're going to cut bait here, and we're going to start doing some interviewing. And you know what? I'm going to bring some good candidates. I'm bringing in Jim Harbaugh. I'm bringing in freaking I'm bringing in Flores.
That's not fair. That is not Mike
No,
McCarthy.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it because Mike McCarthy's not the answer.
That's not where the argument is. That doesn't need to be where the argument is. Yes,
I get it, but he can put some action behind what he's saying.
But targeting Jerry Jones is not the problem. There's a bunch of teams with losing records.
Oh no, I get it. It's a bigger thing than that.
Right, but I'm just saying I get where you're coming from, but
it starts somewhere, Ray. Doesn't it start somewhere? Somebody has to be the one to start it.
That's not where you start. Don't start with a playoff team. There's a bunch of other teams you could start with. And
we're making it past the first round. How the hell are we playoffs? We barely sniffed the shit.
Well, they made it.
I'm just saying, man. I don't know. I mean, we have been playoffs since 1995. Let's just be honest, man. We're like in the wild card round.
Again, I don't think that necessarily is the problem. And I know you guys have kind of touched in. We've hit a lot of different topics, but specifically to what Flores is saying. What do you guys think happens to him? Freddie, I'll start with you.
Oh man.
Unfortunately, he's done. One thing we know about the NFL is it's a good old boy club. You piss one person off, you ain't getting in. That's the chances. And just like Jay just touched on Jerry Jones, you come out and you say things. You say that it needs to be a change. We need to do better. Okay. You need to do better, Jerry Jones? Hire Flores. He needs a job. He needs a job right now. Hire him on your coaching staff. Even if it's not head coach, put him on there. If you really want to incorporate a change. Or how about this? I don't believe the Cowboys have an official general manager, I don't say. How about you?
Jerry is not giving up his general manager role.
Hey, but
Ray says that it doesn't start with the Cowboys. I say it absolutely unequivocally starts with the Cowboys. But hold on, let me tell you why, Ray. I'm gonna tell you why, because you have to set the example. Hold on, Ray, you have to set the example, and you set the example by hiring a qualified coach to come in and take your team to the Super Bowl, and he can absolutely take the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl. I really believe that.
Well, I'm not going to say it starts with the Cowboys, but
I don't know why they have the target. Like, could Jerry be more influential behind the scenes? 100%. But there are a bunch of teams that should be that we should be targeting And I don't know why we're targeting the Cowboys, who just went to the playoffs, and Mike McCarthy's only been there 2 years. Like,
Ray,
maybe you target
is,
the New Orleans Saints, who just lost their coach,
right,
and
so
he comes in and rebuild that team.
Ray, my thing is, I'm not saying it starts with the Cowboys, but it will be a bigger statement if Jerry Jones come out and make a move like that.
Thank you. Now Freddie's understanding what I'm trying to say.
Someone like there's a dichotomy here. You would be firing Mike McCarthy for what?
Hey, you fire Mike McCarthy because of damn play calling. What do you mean? Why? There's a million reasons you fire Mike McCarthy. I can give you a whole list. Do you have time? Because I don't know how long your show is, but I'll give you a diatribe on the list of why Mike McCarthy.
I guess we learned you're not a Dallas fan, huh?
No, I'm a Dallas fan. I'm a Cowboys fan.
That's why.
I never wanted Mike McCarthy. I never wanted Mike McCarthy.
But that doesn't change the fact he wasn't successful. And you're saying fire him and then go hire
I'm saying he's been there 2 years and his play calling is atrocious. He's been there 2 years.
He doesn't call the plays. Kellen Moore calls the plays. He doesn't even call the plays.
Oh, yeah, you're right, because Mike McCarthy doesn't have any kind of say-so on Kellen Moore. You're right, my bad. I'll be quiet.
We're getting stuck on the Cowboys and Jerry Jones.
That's not
the issue.
Well, fellas, hold on one second. I'm looking at the comments, and shout out to James. He did make a comment behind that. He said Jerry didn't let players kneel, so he isn't going to hire black head coaches or coordinators. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Well, that's my point. That's my whole point. If Jerry was to come out and put the action behind the words, it would carry a lot of freaking weight.
No, it would be just like when they kneeled all together. It'd be a token ideal. It wouldn't be his true beliefs. None of us like the James said.
Man. How do you know? How do you know? I mean, how do you know?
We know Jerry Jones.
I believe people can
Jerry Jones talk.
Right?
There's 31 other teams. Why are we not talking about any of them?
I get it. But who has more weight than Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft?
He has
maybe even Mara.
We are spending time on people that we should not be spending time on. There's still head coaching jobs open. And we're not talking about them. You keep talking about the guy with the coach that went to the playoffs, and he's the owner of the team, and he's the general manager. That's not the guy that we should be talking about.
Well, I'll tell you what you're talking about. Hey, Robert F. Smith could be the first black owner of the Denver Broncos.
That's a whole different conversation.
They hired Hackett. So maybe Robert Smith inherits a bet, because we all know Hackett's not the answer. He's no better than freaking Fangio. Honestly.
And so then we agree. So then we can talk about Denver and why they
right, exactly.
So spend the same energy there on him saying.
I get it, right. I'm sorry. I spent my wrong energy, but I think we're on the same. I think we had the same understanding, and I do understand what you're saying. So yeah, I agree. So Denver's a good spot. I think New Orleans is a good spot. Pittsburgh is a great spot, but Pittsburgh already has a coach,
a black coach. So we don't want to.
Yeah, you can't really go to Pittsburgh because they have a coach, but definitely New Orleans and definitely Denver would be some good spots.
Those would be
and Houston. Don't forget Houston. Houston's also
they just had a black coach, and we saw how they did him. And the owner of Houston had some very.
But Houston can make it right. Houston can redeem itself and make itself right if they do it the right way.
You know how you make it right? Bring Cully back. Firing one black guy to hire another one just for.
I get it. Hey, listen, watch this. Hey, Ray, the milk is spilled. The milk is spilled. I get it, but can we not clean up the mess and right our wrongs? Are we so sanctimonious that we can't allow our franchise to say, "Hey, you know what?
I'm sick of apologize.
Let me see if I can get it right this time."
New Orleans. I think New Orleans makes a lot of sense. New Orleans.
You guys.
And I believe they were going to bring someone in. I think Jim Caldwell or something. That makes sense.
And I do agree with what he's saying. Maybe Houston needs to let go of their GM and bring in a different GM, and we can start this process again. I think that if Houston was to let go of that GM, because that was a bad call, I agree. If Houston let go of that GM, brought in another GM, and that was the reason, which is a very good reason, then Houston could clean up their mess, change their culture, help out the community, and do the right thing. And now we're looking at a way better situation. So Houston has an opportunity, is what I'm saying. They have an opportunity to right that wrong.
For me, that means nothing. You screwed up. So just bringing in another black guy to appease people.
No, what I'm saying is you change out your general manager. You change out your general manager and you bring in the right head coach, whether he be white, whether he be black. You bring in the right head coach, but you interview with integrity and you hire the right man for the job.
But listen here, man. It starts with the owners.
I agree. You're right. It does start with the
starts
owner.
owner. We're talking about a league that have more African Americans. We don't have not one black owner, not one. You know,
and to your point, Freddie. So maybe if the McNair family came out and issued an apology for the way that they handled the Dan Coley situation, let go of their manager, and basically had a cleansing. That's got. I mean, how would that not rectify it?
For me, I wouldn't care. That's hollow and it's insincere.
But how do you know it's insincere? Do you know these people? Do you know this friend? Do you know?
I saw what you just did. I'm judging your actions. I watched what you did.
But then what they had actions with the opposite direction?
I watched what McNair said out of his mouth about the inmates running the asylum. I've watched.
Well, I think McNair's dead now. I don't even think he's around anymore.
So
my point is the rest of the McNair family that's there.
Right, that family is there. So it's hard for me to believe that there's none of that in any of them based on what I just saw with them handling of Cully. And now all of a sudden, oh, we saw the light. We're sorry. We're going to go hire some token black guy just to make up for it? No. Absolutely not.
My problem
so basically what you're saying is there is no forgiveness in the world. There is no way to right or wrong. There's nothing you can do. It's just
that's not there are, but that's not it.
Well, he's definitely not saying that. It sounds like he's just saying that he don't want to do no commercial shit. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language. It got to be real, man. And obviously, for some reason, he doesn't feel that's a real move.
No. Okay, so my point, Ray, and I'm listening with open ears. Listen. You're talking to a white guy who is all about learning. I'm like a damn sponge. I want to learn everything I can learn. So, and I don't have no preconceived notions about nothing. You tell me, what could the Texans do to make it right in your eyes? Honestly.
Bringing I forget Smith was his name. I forget who they had.
Robert F. Smith.
Bring Cully back. He overperformed in that role in that job.
You know you can't do that. You know they're not.
You asked me what can you do. You asked me what can you do. I gave you.
I did. I'm sorry. I apologize. So bring Dan. You want
to talk about making it right? That's making it right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I agree with you. Okay. If that's what makes it right, I can see that. I just don't know if Dan Cully's going to want to come back. Is what I'm getting at. I mean, after you let it go, that kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth. Do you think
we've seen is as a black head coach, you don't get many opportunities. He knew that was a messed up situation before he took it. If they offered it, he's going to take it.
By the way, I totally love that.
What is he going to do? Go back and be a head coach in college?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have that option. So when you
I really hate what they did to Dan Cully, by the way, because Dan Cully was basically a franchise with nothing, and he actually was winning games. I mean, it wasn't many, but it was definitely a lot more games than what we as fans expected them to win. And I'm not a fan of the Houston Texans. I'm a Cowboy. I want to make that clear. But I do, because Freddie will take that. He'll run a mile with it. But as you know, the Texas organization, what Dan Cully did for that organization, for where it was at, the talent he was given, he actually made lemonade out of lemons. Let's be honest.
But to me, that speaks to real quick, Freddie, and I'll get you in.
David Cully, and I'm saying it wrong. David Cully, I apologize.
But to me, that speaks to what Flores was saying. Also, is that you bring these black coaches into these bad situations just so you can lose. And then once they get the draft picks, once they do whatever they need to do, they get them out of there. And I think that's what we're seeing. They brought Cully into a bad situation. They were trying to put a good face on the Deshaun Watson disaster and PR that was going on. And so as soon as they got through that, they got him out of there. Well, go ahead, Freddie.
Well, Dan Cully was basically the scapegoat to righteousness, which I think that's terrible, but I can see your point. I understand your point. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I got two things. First, I want to know how many white coaches was told, "Hey, if you lose games on purpose, we'll pay you more money." I want to know.
Well, you're not going to know that, Freddie. Nobody's going to come out and tell you that.
Well, I know that, but I want
Freddie,
coaches
to your
to come
point,
out.
That's important because if that's happening, then that speaks to a systemic issue, and then it's no longer necessarily a race issue, but it's a much bigger issue. And if there are, and I've said this from the beginning, whether it be Cap or anybody else, you need white people. Like white people as advocates are important. If Tom Brady and Drew Brees and Peyton Manning would have came out in support of Kaepernick and what he was talking about, instead of having a hat in your locker or Drew
A lot
Brees
of
and
people's
what he
position
said,
be a lot different.
it would be completely different. But that they're not going to do that because they're not incentivized to do it. And in a lot of cases, they're decentivized to do it. And
well, let me ask you fellas this. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I would say, and this wouldn't be necessarily the right voice, but you need somebody like John Gruden who's been scorned, who's felt alienated. He's the kind of person that would say, I ain't got nothing to lose, so now I'm going to let all the secrets out. Now, I don't think he's the right voice because of the emails, but you need somebody like that has an axe to grind, that knows their likelihood is not to return, that has nothing to lose to reveal the secrets. And I don't think we'll get that.
And then my second thing is with the Giants, you could kind of tell somebody's mindset of how they do things. This organization has been around since 1925, and they have never had a minority head coach. Never since they've been an organization.
Hey, can I say one thing that's going to be kind of different? It's going to be maybe even put the situation in a positive light, if I can. I think that this situation, as horrible as it is, and it's a horrible situation, but at the same time, it's also an eye-opening. It's an eye-opening experience for a lot of us who may not have seen this. You can't have change without something getting blown up. And I'm telling you, the positive out of this is having it blown up. Hopefully, and listen, man, listen. I live in a realistic world too. I understand things can do whatever. But my hope, and my prayers that I do, and when I do pray, I pray on this, is that we could take this situation and turn it into a better situation in terms of.
Jay, we've been saying
what I'm saying is, look, I said this earlier. Hold on, I said this earlier too.
No change. There's a chance that.
Hold on, Freddie. Hold on. Hey, I want to read something real quick, and I sent this to you in a text message. But this is what I really think, and this is my really true feelings. And I don't really say a lot, but let me say this real quick, if you don't mind.
I'm gonna say, Jay,
well, okay, maybe I do. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Damn it, I'm an old person. But listen to what I said, bro. It really is. Growth and growing pains in the human race will always be a touchy subject. But if we talk about it, put the issues on the table, that's the only way we can resolve and make this world a better place. What I'm trying to say is this. There is a human race out there, but let me tell you something. If you put the issue on the damn table enough, and if you expose enough crap, something's eventually going to change.
Yeah.
Now, listen, there's owners out there that are eventually going to die. And we are raising, hopefully, a new crop of people that's going to take their positions and make it better. But I do think that situations like this, as ugly as they are, can be put into a positive just by talking about it, put it on the table, class action lawsuits, things like that. Something's going to change, damn it. It can't just stay the same. And we all know that.
Jay, that's not true.
Tell me why. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Look at the history of this country. We're having this very conversation today.
In 2022.
In 2020,
I get it.
We've had Malcolm X.
Racism is talked though, right?
We've had Fred Hampton. We celebrate Black History Month every single month. We've talked about slavery. Everybody's been told what slavery was, and now they're trying to take it out of schools and take it out of the curriculum, and it's changed very little.
I didn't know they were trying to take it out of the curriculum. Maybe I'm not privy to that knowledge, but I didn't know they were trying to take it out of the curriculum.
It's being taken out of a lot of different places. Talking about it is cheap. We've seen that. It's gotten worse. The NFL hiring has gotten worse after all the headlines and taglines and diversity groups.
After the Rooney Rule.
After the Rooney Rule, after they hired Jay-Z. It's gotten worse.
Right. Which goes back to what I said earlier. All they was doing essentially was putting T-shirts on people to try to appease us. But nothing changes, dog.
And on top of that, Jay, I'll take it a step further. They've incentivized it. They've said, if you hire someone, we'll give you a third-round draft pick. So it's more than talk. They're trying actions, Rooney Rule. They're trying actions to give you a third-round draft pick, and it's still not working. So if you're telling me that we can just keep talking and bringing awareness to it, they don't care, because last week they had the highest ratings they've ever had. That's not going to change anything. They know that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I guess I try to be the eternal optimist, but I hear what you're saying, man. I mean,
I'm only surprised that Tony Dungy hasn't come out and said something, because they always tote somebody out that wants to try and diffuse the situation and talk about their experience, and then eventually this will all go away because next week we got the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And then it'll be the draft.
I don't think this
And
is
it'll
going
be the
away, Ray. I don't think this is going away. I don't think
The
it's going to
only
be
reason it's
like
not
that.
going away is because it's a lawsuit and it's going to take time. But eventually, they're going to bury it in paperwork and drag this out.
And then
And I want to jump in right quick.
Inside.
I want to jump in right quick 1 second. Also, B Flow also said from there too, though, he still would like a job. So let's say somebody ends up giving him one to whatever. Do you think then, like you said, it'll just go away? I mean, what do y'all think about that, man? If he does somehow get another job in the NFL,
It's for me, and I'll let Freddie go out there and we can go around. For me, it's lose-lose. Anybody that gives him a job, they're going to say you only gave it to him because he sued you. And then if you don't give it to him, then he was blackballed, or whiteballed. So then he's not going to be able to get the job either way. So I don't think it makes a difference. I think it's going to be hard for people to respect him outside of the locker room as a coach because of this situation. I think now they look at him as, oh, he was the whistleblower, so they just gave him something because of the lawsuit, which is unfortunate. But in relation to the totality of the situation, that wouldn't change anything either. It doesn't change what happened.
What's up?
Freddie, you can, Freddie, you can.
Let's let Kenny get his put in about this topic.
Go ahead and re-ask the question, so we can get Kenny going.
No, I'm good. I was watching as I was trying to get on, but my thoughts are really basic, man. I just think that this has just brought everything to light. We're finally seeing that this whole thing has been pretty much a sham. Like the process of interviewing minority candidates is a sham. And I just think that this was the straw that broke the camel's back for Brian Flores. Like when he got that text from Bill, from Belichick, he's thinking that he's, going in for an interview. And you got to also think about this part of the backstory that people are not talking about. Brian Flores is from Brooklyn. This is a New York guy. Mm-hmm. This is probably his dream job, his dream opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So, for him to basically be going in as a token interview or as with
it's very hurtful. It's hurtful.
Yeah, it's hurtful.
Especially when you have loyalty to something. You have loyalty to where you're from.
Yeah, it's hurtful. It's disrespectful. And again, I just think that it was a straw that broke the camel's back.
So let me ask you guys a question. Just understand.
Hold on, let Kenny get his point. Hold on.
So good to come out of this. Is there any silver lining? Or are we just doomed to just be effed?
So I'll answer your question and I'll finish my thought. So to answer your question, I think that this is going to put everything on the table, and there's going to have to be some serious changes made to the process of being the interview process. I think that that's the purpose of this whole lawsuit, is that it's going to basically throw the Rooney Rule on its ear, and they're going to have to make serious adjustments to how the process is being done in terms of interviews. And then my other thought is that another part of it, which led to, I believe, Brian Flores filing this lawsuit, is that all of the openings, all of the jobs that have been filled, they've all been white candidates. We haven't heard of any finalists, any minority final, not even any finalists. Like we haven't heard of any finalists of a minority for these positions or for these openings. And so I just think it all of these things culminated in Brian Flores is feeling like either it's now or never. Something has to be done.
Well, so to be fair, Byron Leftwich, the job was his. He just wanted the guy fired, and they weren't going to fire him, so he pulled his name out of it. So to be completely fair,
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It's the same situation. There was rumors
that's speculation.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
We don't know that.
Every one of them. I don't know if he did every single one. I think the Jacksonville job, he pulled his name out of it. I mean, I want to be fair to Jacksonville, and hopefully they're not being racist about it.
What they saying about that job? There's other coaches didn't want that same GM in there as well, and that's why
Dan Quinn pulled his name out of that job, or he turned it down outright.
Yeah, he never wanted. He never even wanted to be interviewed. Like he never even went through the process.
Jay, when does that ever happen? Why would you go to somewhere with a GM that obviously has a certain reputation, and if he doesn't like you, like we just saw in Houston, he'll fire you? You bring in the GM that you like. If I'm a new coach, I want to go, and it's already a bad situation because Jacksonville is a bad situation, and I just saw what happened in Houston. Why would I go there?
But I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and to your point, you're right. I mean, you can't really. Let me ask you this: Do you guys think that this needs to go to the level of Roger Goodell? I mean, at what point we say, "Hey, Roger Goodell, your time as commissioner's up"?
Roger works for the owners.
Yeah,
No, I know, but I mean, is there no way? There's no way of removing him or holding him accountable.
Yeah, but know. It's not his problem in terms of the owners are the ones. The owners in the front offices,
right? But technically, still could hold him accountable. He's not doing that.
The only thing that Goodell can do.
Or I say, I'm really saying Goodell, Roger Goodell.
Well, I would say the only thing that he could do at this point is make adjustments to the Rooney Rule. Like, I think that's the extent of what.
But Dan, what adjustment do you make to it? Like, how do you make that right?
To me, one thing is that you have to have a minority finalist. There has to be at least one minority finalist. It has to go a step further. Like, now, right now, it's just you have to interview at least 2 minority candidates.
Truthfully, though, Kenny, I think the only thing that Roger Goodell can do is basically put an NFL unbiased led HR person in the interviews when the interviews are happening.
When you're
hold them accountable.
When you are that famous and you're that powerful, no one can tell you what to do with your business.
Yep.
Like, that's what this comes down to. The owners don't want black coaches. And I don't care if it's Goodell, until it costs them money, until players don't want to play, coaches don't want to coach, advertisers start pulling out. Because if this lawsuit was to go into effect and Amazon says, you know what, that TV deal, we're good. Fox says that TV deal, we're good. CBS, they start talking like that until you diversify your hiring practices. That, to me, will get the NFL's attention.
So what we're really saying is change, true honest change. And I believe this. I believe it. True change won't happen until the society, the fans, hold these owners accountable and say, you know what, we're going to boycott going to these damn games and tell you how. But that's not going to happen because you can't get that many people to say that.
But that's not but even that with the boycott, that will have some impact in terms of affecting.
So you have to have a player lock, maybe a player lockout.
The bigger impact is the TV money. That's what a big money is.
So, but maybe you had the players do a lockout themselves. Maybe the players go on strike.
But again, I hate that because there's a bunch of players that can't really afford that. This isn't a player issue. This is a owner issue. And the players.
No, I get it. I get it's an owner issue. But how do you?
The players didn't do it when it was stuff that related to them specifically.
All right. So
the backup on what he just said right there. The backup on what he just said right there. You talking about a walkout? Didn't they try that in the NBA and they didn't play for 1 day or 2?
Okay, so let me ask you, guys, and let me ask you a question to this panel. So let me ask you this: rather than talking about what the issue is, because we all know what the issue is. What if in your eyes, in y'all's eyes, what is the solution? What's the solution?
I'll give him my take. Somebody else can get in.
No, I said in terms of making a finalist, you can also start penalizing these teams start docking draft picks, start fining, start to your point, Jay, have an AR do an audit of the interview process to see what exactly was done and if they followed it.
Yeah,
and
but
you start fining, you start taking away draft picks. You have to affect them in some way to get their attention.
Yeah, Kenny, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be authentic. It's not. We're talking about changing old 50, 60, 70-year-old men that's stuck in their ways.
But to me, the only way you do that is you hit their wallets.
And
that's why I said advertising
too. And to come behind that too, what we're still talking about. Remember, yes, this is a lawsuit, but it still has to be proven. As long as the guys keep acting like the shit ain't really proven, they ain't gonna change nothing, man.
Hey, Whip Dog. You know what the problem I see here with all of this is? This is where the real problem lies, Whip Dog. The problem lies is all of this hiring process is so number one, subjective, and so gray area that how do you ever really determine what the black and white definitive answer is? I don't know if you can ever get a true black and white definitive answer because there's so many gray areas that you can look at, and that's why I don't know how you ever come to a solution.
That's why I say you make one minority candidate a finalist right off rip. Like there has to be one minority candidate as a finalist.
But that's not really a solution, though, either, Kenny, because that's the Rooney Rule. I can have a white guy and a black guy as a candidate and still have a white guy and be like the white guy doing that.
But my point is by doing that, it makes it less of a token interview. You're not just bringing guys in to, if you know that you have to come up with a finalist that's a minority candidate, you're going to take you're going to take that interview more, excuse me, more serious because you have to pick one finalist as a minority candidate. So that's
exactly. But let me ask you this.
I don't know about that. I'm with Freddie on what he said earlier, though. It's not authentic, man. So I get what you're saying. No,
it's not. And I'll tell you why it's not authentic, because it's no different than the Rooney Rule is currently. Because I can have, watch this. I got the guy I really want. I got the white guy I really want. And I can put any black guy up there. Doesn't matter who it is. Pick one. And I still have the white guy. I mean, it doesn't really solve the situation. It's no different than the Rooney Rule is currently.
I'm going to tell the problem that I have. And Kenny, I believe he said it Monday before I had to get off. And he said it well. He used Kellen Moore and Eric Bieniemy as the same situation. It shouldn't be in nobody's eyes. Kellen Moore should be wanted more than this coach that has been to 2 Super Bowls.
I get it. I'm with you, Freddie. I'm with you.
And I mean, you know what? As quiet as it is kept, even with Brian Flores doing what he's doing yesterday, we can go into next season with one black head coach.
Freddie, and to your point. To your point, Freddie, it would have to be, and really to even Kenny's point, the NFL would have to implement rules of HR inclusion in these interviews, and it would have to be resume based. There had to be some sort of resume based. For example, I'll give you an example. I got a New York Giants job opening. I got a team in rebuild mode. I need a coach that has experience as a head coach that could come in here and take this team from shambles, change it around, turn it around, and has legitimate success at doing that. Does Dable have that? No. Does Flores have that? You're damn right. Well, and you look at hold on. And you take those two candidates to Kenny's point. You take Dable, you take Flores. You look at those two, and then you put their resumes up. And HR needs to be a part of this, and they need to have a significant part of the hiring process. Look at it. It should be 25% or 50% ownership. 50% HR.
And then
hold on. 50% HR if NFL led and 50% ownership, and those two should come to determine between those two guys. And I'm pretty sure that HR is going to check Brian Flores every step of the way.
And then when you make your decision, you have to explain what was the criteria that went into your decision.
There you go. Because how are you going to explain to me Brian Dable over Brian Flores with the New York Giants situation?
So you have to list who your finalists were. You have to list who your finalists were and who you decided on as your choice, and then you have to explain why you picked that person over the other. Like there has to be some full transparency with this process. I think that's part of the solution. That's to be way more transparent.
Absolutely. And I think if I'm in the NFL Players Association and I'm going to the NFL, I'm talking about the CBA and all of what it implies, I think I'm making that my biggest sticking point.
And that's
putting that on the table.
And that's the exact reason why I will not root for the New York Giants a day of my life again. I'm done with them.
You're not supporting them because they stink.
No.
If he was really a fan, he'd go for the San Diego Chargers.
I can't root for an organization that believe in that. I just can't.
I get it, Freddie. And Freddie, I appreciate that, Freddie. I appreciate you taking that stance because I know you are a New York Giants guy. I give you crap about
not anymore.
Stop it. I say you were. I didn't say you are. No. I said you were a New York Giants guy, and I give you a lot of crap about the Packers. But let's be honest, Freddie. I mean, it's pretty warranted. But I know you were a New York Giants guy. And for you to turn your back on them and say, and because of that, that's a pretty good stance. And look, if we all did that, if the whole freaking human race can learn to do what's right, then you can make a change in the world. It takes one person, right?
That
Okay,
sounds.
That's why I got a new team.
All right, Mike.
That's not realistic. So kind of
It might not be. I don't know.
So we're moving forward to a certain extent from that. Jay, we heard from you on it. Kenny, what are your thoughts on the Washington Commanders and all that's going on with the Washington team and now Dan Snyder and more allegations coming out?
I don't know. Like, to be honest with you, Jay, you educated me because I didn't know that fact about the Commanders.
About the Tuskegee
like
Airmen?
that. No. I knew about the Red Tails, but I'm talking about the Commanders in terms of the
Yeah, man, that's long been
to me like to me you just dug further in because first of all you didn't want to change the name in the first place.
Yeah,
he fought that for years, changing changing it from the Redskins, and then now you go from this to that, and you got these issues. Like, to me, man, I can see it's a possibility because let's also remember that we still haven't heard all of the emails about that whole issue with Gruden. So there could be some more, smoking gun in terms of that. So there's a possibility that we could have 3 teams that could be up for sale when this is all said and done. Because with Washington, he's been under fire for years. And Ray, I'm sure you can speak to it better than me between the whole Redskins situation and then the front office challenges and then the racial elements, all of those things, man. It's just real suspect and it's real questionable. So Daniel Snyder, to me, he's got to be under the gun too. And I would have some questions in terms of moving forward with him as an owner, because to me, like, another thing that they did. I think he just hired, is it Jason Smith? Is that his name, Ray? The president or the CEO?
Yeah.
Jason Smith. That to me was something to save face. I don't know how, we were talking about something being genuine. I don't know how genuine that move was to bring him in.
I will say, and I don't completely disagree, but as somebody that's been here, quiet as it's kept, Washington's front office is real diverse. Like, we've hired some women in some prominent roles. We brought Doug Williams back.
Right.
We had Smith. We hired Ron Rivera. We've made quite a few decisions that have, been diverse hires. Now, the owner hasn't changed, and his issues, and he said some of those were 13 years old. So I don't, to Jay's point, I don't know if he's changed. I doubt it. I think it's been more so of a situation where he's been trying to save face, but in trying to save face, good things have been happening. And as a black man, I'm okay with that. Like, as long as we get the job, I don't typically care as much. I would love for it to be honest and genuine, but as long as we can get in there and get a real shot, you got to take it however you get it.
Hey, let me say something, Ray. I've lived in Washington, D.C. for the better part of 5. I only did 5 years. I did 5 years, and I did it on the southeast side of Washington, across from Navy Yard, in a suburb called Anacostia. It was 1526 Howard Road. If anybody wants to look at my house, it was 1526 Howard Road. But anyway.
Probably not there anymore.
Oh, stop it. It's still there. That house worth $500,000 these days. Trust me, I looked on Zillow. But anyway. No, it really is, Freddie. And I can give you a whole finance, but we're not going to do that. This show's not meant for finances. But
they've torn so much stuff down. That's the only reason I was saying that. But go ahead.
Hey, no, I know they really have torn a lot. But the whole point about it is, I lived in Washington. I lived it, and I talked to everybody, all my neighbors. I mean, I really immersed myself in the fabric of Washington D.C. When I met people of all origins, backgrounds, every economic status you could think of. And I will tell you this, what I know about Washington, D.C., it is largely African-American. Largely.
It's Chocolate City.
No doubt.
And for them, and listen, and this is common, just some damn common sense. Dan Snyder, look at the makeup of your city. It is largely African-American. Then look, and take it a step further. You are rich. That city is rich in military monument. How are you not going to incorporate African American and the military into one entity? From a marketing standpoint, it's a damn gold mine. It's a freaking gold mine in Red Tails. And you can market that.
They got half of it. But they did half of it. They got the military aspect. 100%.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Whatever.
Well,
Commanders, no.
Pretty military.
They missed the mark so bad, it's retarded.
But that could be considered. And again, you educated me on that. But Commanders, if you're looking at it on face value, like Commanders that is a military.
Okay, man. How many times are you gonna say white European? No. How many times are you gonna say white European that killed all the different wars that the white people had with the Indians? How many times are you gonna say that? How many times are you gonna go around that block there? I can go about 1 million.
But if we're going there, then
he was a white commander. No. Wait.
You're a fan of the Cowboys.
The Battle of Buffalo Ridge and General Custer was a white man killing the Indians. He's a commander. How did he not do that? Commander terms, most of the time.
You support the Cowboys. What did Cowboys do?
I agree. Hey, listen, I can't change everything.
If you're going to target one, target all of them. What are
I
Patriots?
I get it.
What are Patriots?
I get it. Well,
I get it. We want to have that conversation.
So what
we got to have the whole conversation.
Keep it in context, Ray. But keep it in context. We're talking about the Commanders.
Make sure you're keeping the same energy with your team and other teams that do that.
But that's not my point. Right? My point is they could have gone from the Commanders. Watch this, Ray. They could have gone from the Commanders to the Red Tails and had a way different spin on it. A way different spin.
They were never going to pick the Red Tails. Let me be honest with you. That was never going to happen.
Yeah. I agree. No, I agree with you. And that's why I think it infuriates me, though, because what you're saying. And that's what I said before. Dan Snyder could have made a big impact, and he chose not to.
That name will never be in the NFL. There will never be a Detroit Buffalo Soldiers. Like, there's no way. Our country will not be there in our lifetime. But
and I know, and that's what's sad. That's the part that really is sad. Honestly, it's sad. It's sad. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's freaking embarrassing that we can't do that.
I have a suggestion or a question for you guys, because I think what we come to the crux of this is it's an owner issue. Do you guys believe that owners should have terms? So maybe you get to own the team for, say, 10-year, 15-year term, and then at a certain time you got to rebid. And then if someone can outbid you, then they can.
No, you know what? No, I got a better thing. They should have terms that says they should have terms.
Let me finish my question. Let everyone answer, and then you can add what you want to add.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I do apologize. I'm sorry.
Kenny, you said you weren't in favor.
No. I was saying that's a slippery slope, because then we're getting into free enterprise, to where we're kind of almost putting restrictions, for lack of a better term, on how people can own a business. So I think that'll lead to a whole lot of a bunch
but
of
it's a private business. The NFL is private, so you can set the rules however you want. And if you want to be an owner in our league, these are the terms.
Yeah, to me, well, I mean, it's definitely something to consider. I'm just not sure how many people would sign on to owning a team with the possibility that I'm only going to own it for 10 or 15 years, and then I'm going to have to re-up, or for lack of a better term. I don't know.
If you could own the Dallas Cowboys for 15 years.
I understand. I'm just saying, like, with these
saying you don't think people would be signing up every
because think about it. Most of these teams, it goes from the patriarch or the matriarch, then it gets passed down to the next generation. Like, this thing keeps getting recycled through the family. So it's not like these teams are getting sold once, and ain't nobody selling their team once they buy it. So I'm not sure if they're going to want to do that. If people are going to want to do that.
My change that I want to see when it comes to ownership is that I don't need 4 or 5. I don't need all these other owners to sign off when I'm trying to come buy the team. Because we all know if a minority come try to buy the team, most of the time they're not getting that support from those other owners. I mean, they're blocking it out just so the change won't happen. I don't like that rule at all. Don't think that should be a rule. I think they should definitely rethink that because they blocked quite a few so far.
I'm good with that. Now, Jay, you had another suggestion?
Yeah, and again, I apologize I should dominate the conversation. I do apologize. Hey, what I think should happen. If it was me, I would put out a rule that says, listen, every team has got to be, 50%, at least have shares, not one specific owner. Don't have just one guy owning the team. It should be an equal of minority and an equal of white or some sort of variation thereof to where a white person can't have the full say-so. And it gives more ownership to the minorities to give them say-so. So we have more of an equal balance.
To that point, a lot of teams aren't actually owned outright by one person.
No, I know that. So what I'm saying is there needs to be more black owners like the Jay-Z's of the world or the Puff Daddies of the world or the Michael Jordans and so forth to have money. They need to be the guys investing in with these owners so they can have the say-so. We need the buy-in of all the black owners who have money to buy into the league, and become part of the solution.
So let me ask you. So Jay, are you saying that?
And it doesn't be black. It could be Hispanic.
No, I understand. But I'm saying so are you saying that these owners should now open up to minority?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the whole point. If you have teams that are half white, half minority, whatever it is, or maybe 20%,
sell a piece of the team. No, I get it.
But if you have team owners that are mixed, that aren't necessarily one specific, whatever, then you're going to have more inclusion. You have to get inclusion. And the African Americans with money, the Latinos with money, the Asians with money, you guys need to come to the damn plate and start putting bids in. And Roger Goodell, you need to start opening up the avenues.
Now that you mention that, though, I do believe that Serena Williams is a minority owner of the Dolphins.
Yeah,
I believe so.
I just don't know if you would ever get to a situation where, especially with a sports franchise, and I don't even think it would make a lot of sense to not be able to make decisions without an equal grouping. Like, I think you have to have a face. You have to have a majority shareholder. That's just like business philosophy.
Well, what I'm saying is, watch this. If I'm half white, if I'm half minority, and I say, okay, we're going to elect somebody, and it has to be elected by both parties to one unbiased person, then you got an issue. Then you have the solution. No,
I don't think most organizations will function where that would get stuff stuck in the way if everybody has an equal share. And typically those things don't work out. I think the other part to this is the Broncos, I think, are scheduled to go on the market for like $6 billion or something. That's like the starting point. There's not a lot of.
Has it gone from 4 to 6? It wasn't 4.
Was it 4? I know it was supposed to be like a record.
It was $4 billion, but they were going to do auction style. It was going to start off at $4 billion. It was going to be auction style.
I just don't know how many black people have that.
Well, you get it. That's one of them things where you have to get an ownership group. Where you have to
I agree, but that's a whole different conversation of getting.
Well, that's what Robert Smith is worth $6 billion. He's $2 billion above the asking. What I'm saying is, if you have Robert Smith, maybe one or two other people,
what you're worth and what you actually have are two different things. Because
I get it. No, I get that.
You have to pay. So how much of your assets you're going to liquidate to pay in? Well, typically people like the Clippers owner, you got to be worth like 10 plus billion if you're trying to do something outright by yourself, because you got to be able to pay for it at some point. It can't just.
And that's what I'm saying. So black owners step up to the plate and help out Robert. So Robert's trying to get it. So hey, black owners who have money,
So then
or
that
Hispanic owners step up to the plate. Let's start making it happen.
But then Jay, that goes to the other point. So if I say you're black or whatever, or Hispanic, whatever you want to be. So I'm giving you my money. But now if you're buying in, but you're only giving me 10%, you're not going to get an equal say in what decisions I make.
Well, that's
So
that's a business level discussion. But what I'm saying is,
that's why I don't think it'll ever be equal.
Okay, and I get that. A-Rod, LeBron, Robert.
But if you're able,
come together, let's make it happen.
I think if you're able to get enough, so say for example, if you have a 5 or a 6 person ownership group, if you have 2 to 3 minorities in that ownership group, then that would be enough of a representation. To have a say so. In business operations and decisions.
Right. And so you take an A-Rod who's Latino, you take LeBron who's African American, you take Robert Smith who already has the majority, who could liquidate if he needed to, and I'm pretty sure he would to make it happen. You got 3 minority owners that could take out a John Elway and whoever else he wants to bring in. I know John Elway is trying to lead up a group.
I hear you. I think the economics of that are a little different. We're simplifying it more than it is. But I agree. I think the ownership needs to change. That's why I suggested terms, because at that point, when a new fresh crop of these Bitcoin billionaires or whatever, or minorities that come up in 10 to 15 years, they could have a shot to get in. But right now, they're just going to keep passing it down. It doesn't matter how much money the next person has. They're just going to keep passing it down, and there's no way for anyone to get in unless there's some kind of bombshell controversy. And I think that's the problem.
Hashtag nothing changes if we don't talk about it.
100%.
So we're about halfway. So I won't switch over to basketball yet. I did have another question for you guys. And I don't know how many people know this, but tonight was the skills competition for the Pro Bowl. How does the NFL fix the Pro Bowl? I know the NFL has a lot of issues, and we've touched on it. But what do they do for the Pro Bowl?
Throw it away.
Let them play after the Super Bowl. We want to see them.
I don't know why did we have the Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl? I never understood that.
Well, it used to be after, but then then guys wouldn't play. So I think that's why they moved.
At that point, it's family vacation time.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's into off-season mode, so guys wasn't.
But then you're not really getting all the true greats because
I think, and another thing was too is to you got that week between the Super Bowl is to put something in there so you still have some football on that week lag between the Super Bowl. So I think that was why they did it. But to me, I think the biggest thing is to just I would say just make the thing a whole like skills. I would do more of a skills competition flavor type of situation as opposed to doing an actual game, because I don't know, but I'm a basketball guy, so to me the NBA All-Star game is a little more fun than the Pro Bowl. So I don't know I think maybe if you do a skills type, like a whole challenge, even though I know way back in the day, and Jay, you might remember this, where they had the superstars thing where they would compete in the other sports, like to do that type of thing, that might bring a little excitement to it. But I don't know if there's any Pro Bowl.
It's hard to make the football look sexy on the skills challenge. It's not like the NBA. You can kind of do a little bit more things where it makes it look sexy. The NFL is just such a harder animal. I don't know if it's because of what it takes, in the field and all that. It's and basketball is a little bit more confined in an arena setting. I just think the NFL is a little bit harder to look sexy.
I get it.
And for what it's worth, like I said, that's tonight. Kenny, what you're asking for, it was on. Trayvon Diggs won the catch competition against Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and Justin Jefferson. And they were like doing
Trayvon Diggs won it?
Yeah, there was a throwing competition. Someone threw him the ball. He jumped off a trampoline, caught it, and did a front flip on like a mat. And it was like the dunk contest, but it was a catch contest.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins and Mac Jones faced off in this thing where there was like a DB on the board, and there was a bunch of holes behind them, and you had to throw it into one of the holes. And if the DB picks it, it takes 3 points away. but each hole was a different size. And you had a certain amount of points.
Okay.
So it was
Who
cool.
won it now?
The AFC one. It was Mac Jones versus Kirk Cousins, and Mac Jones won by 1 point. And
Kirk
then I
Cousins
didn't,
came up short again. What a shot!
and he was
Is that, hey, and then the next question is that hurt Kirk Cousins'
but no, so
he take a dip?
I think that's cool. I just don't know. The Pro Bowl. I think the bigger issue for the players, the Pro Bowl is it's a money thing. Like that's a lot of times it's incentivizing your contract. So I don't know if you can get rid of it for that reason. But two, I think it was Jay's point. Football is just a hard sport to have a fun time in. And 100%. You can't really play flag because God forbid someone tear an ACL or an Achilles or something like that. That wouldn't go well. So I think it's difficult. I think maybe they just named the people. And then, like you said, then you could have a situation where the skills challenge. And it was cool, but I didn't see any commercials or advertisement for it. Like I think I joked about it on Monday that the Pro Bowl is coming up. Has anybody heard anything? I haven't seen a commercial or nothing. So I don't know why it wasn't celebrated. I just happened to be watching ESPN today, and they were live from Vegas doing all the coverage. But I think the NFL definitely dropped the ball. Granted, the Pro Bowl is not great, but they didn't do anything to advertise it. So
I didn't know anything.
Did they do any speed competitions?
I heard there was a fastest man. But I didn't see it. I missed it.
Okay.
It was only like an hour long, but
okay. Because that would be another interesting thing to show off the skills. Because I remember, I don't know if maybe a year or so ago, you saw Tyreek Hill and T.O. and somebody, and they were all sprinting and just seeing to see that speed display. I think that would be pretty cool.
Can we get a field goal competition in there to see who can kick the longest field goal? I'd love to see that one.
Yeah, so I would have to go back and look, but it was cool. I just wish maybe that was on Sunday or more people would have tuned in because I didn't hear anybody talking about it on social media. And like I said,
and I think that's another thing. Like, another way to bring attention to it is you gotta make it like almost like a Saturday night type of thing, like kind of how the NBA makes it into a whole weekend. Like you make it into a whole weekend where you have the skills competition on Saturday night, and you dedicate that time to that and put it in prime time, so everybody can see these guys showcasing their skills. Because I think that's what brings a lot of attention to the NBA guys, where you can see guys that you may not see during the regular season, as much, especially like with the dunk competition. Like, back in the day, that's how Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon made their names, because they were playing on losing teams. So they weren't really getting seen, but they made their name in the dunk competition. So I think that if they did that and made, like a whole weekend out of it, I think that could help as well.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, got some breaking news for the next head coach in Jacksonville, Doug Peterson.
Are you serious?
Horrible hire.
The Eagles coach?
Yep. What did I say? Did I not say that the Jaguars will find a way to mess this up?
Yep.
Oh, Peterson?
Okay. All right. Well,
another recycle.
I feel bad.
At what point, if you're a Jacksonville fan, do you just say F it?
Hey, but you know what?
At what point, man?
Hey,
you're a Jacksonville fan.
No, wait. But Jay, here's the funny thing: is that the Jacksonville fans actually had hope because they saw what happened with the Bengals. That gave them hope. So,
they really. Hey, look, man.
That might let all the air out of the balloon now, though, because everybody was excited about Leftwich. So this is a total letdown.
And they wouldn't get out the way and let that man come in and do what he wanted to do.
They're fine. Like I said, I knew they was gonna find a way to mess it up. That's what they do.
I don't blame them for not accepting anything less. Why accept something where you go in there in a year or two, they say you're the problem, you're the reason why they're not winning, and
you got to have that relationship. You got to have that relationship with your front office, because we see that's what cost Brian Flores his job.
Mm-hmm.
That's what led to Jim Harbaugh being fired in in San Francisco. Him and Balky butted heads. So you got to have that relationship with your GM and with your front office because you guys are the ones that is building the team together. So there has to be some type of synergy.
100%. Well, I definitely think we've talked about it. We will hopefully hear a lot more about it as some kind of progress in this. So I think there's just one more job. The Raiders, the last team, because the Vikings basically
got a coach.
No,
there's several teams out there. You still got the
they
Texans.
got Daniels. So
Minnesota's still out. Minnesota,
open. Saints, Houston.
Yeah, Saints, Houston.
I thought Minnesota
said they're hiring basically the Rams.
Oh, Miami's still trying to find a coach too.
Are they all hiring the Rams guy? I know they said that it was close, but I didn't know if it was official yet.
They can't make it official until after the Super Bowl. But
who is?
Okay. And there's another one. Wait,
who's bringing on the Rams coach? You said the Rams coach got hired. Who?
The offensive coordinator, Kevin Connell.
They got hired by who?
He's going
by
to
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
The offensive coordinator that doesn't call plays, but never mind.
Yeah.
So the three vacancies out there that are left are Houston, New Orleans, and Miami.
Yeah.
And how much you want to bet? Neither one of those teams, a minority will not be a coach.
Well, we know Hugh Jackson and Brian Flores aren't getting jobs.
Yeah, but you still got, Eric Bieniemy. You still got Leslie Frazier.
I think the Saints said they are going to bring Bieniemy in. I think I saw it. Okay. Which would be it's probably the best job left. They just got
a Graham had been out there interviewing Freddie, your defensive coordinator. He had been getting some interviews.
I'm not a Giants fan, right? Kenny?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. My bad.
Yeah, so I'm off that train.
Well, it was a sinking ship. So,
well, I got one. I'm on one team only now.
Packers?
Nope.
He's a Rams guy.
I'm a Rams.
If I'm the Houston Texans, honestly, if I'm a Houston Texans owner, I'm bringing in Brian Flores.
I was born in California, Kenny.
No, I'm gonna let you live because you're a Lakers fan. So
but
Kenny, hold on, Jay. Kenny, check. Hold on. I was talking to Tony. I said, Tony, I'm thinking to be a Chargers fan. I told him that. I said,
you're not gonna be no Chargers fan. You're not ready for that level of commitment, Freddie. Freddie, you're not ready for that level of pain or commitment. You can't handle it, Freddie.
He said you can't.
Freddie, you need a team that's always going to be Super Bowl bound. You can't handle.
He said I can't do that because that's like joining the Clippers, becoming a Clippers fan. And I said, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I can't do that.
The Chargers are the stepchild of LA.
So that's why I chose the Rams. I was born in California. I'm a Dodgers fan, Lakers fan, Rams fan. That's it.
It's a safe pick. I get it. It's a sexy, safe pick. I get it.
It's a nice, nice.
I just got the notification, Doug Peterson. But guys, we're going to transition to the NBA because we had some news out of the NBA tonight. The All-Star.
Are we talking about my team tonight? I want to. Can we?
We're not doing no.
Hold on. Ray's got some news. Hold on.
I told you I had a game tonight, so I didn't know. What are the reserves? I didn't hear them.
So the West reserves are Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Chris Paul, Karl Anthony Towns, and Draymond Green.
Okay.
And the East are Jimmy Butler, Chris Middleton, Darius Garland, Jason Tatum, James Harden, Fred VanVleet, and Zach LaVine.
Oh yeah, I'm not mad at those.
No Julius Randle this year.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
That's some BS.
No, he doesn't deserve it.
I like Julius.
I've been down this year. He hasn't been as good this year.
So I don't like the West reserves. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, by the way, hey, real quick, Clippers are 15, Lakers are 13. I just want to I picked the Clippers to beat the Lakers tonight. And Freddie, I know that's your team, but 15-13 right now, and LA's looking, yeah.
So Kenny, it sounds like you're okay with it. Freddie, it sounds like you had some. You said you didn't like
the
West.
No, Draymond. I had a problem with Draymond. The East I'm okay with the East, but the West, I don't know how Draymond Green is in it.
That's my biggest issue too. I would have liked to see Anthony Edwards in that spot personally.
Yeah.
I think he's been playing really, really well.
Absolutely.
DeJounte Murray's actually been playing really well also.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, that's another one.
That I would have liked maybe. I don't think Draymond will be back healthy in time. So maybe
he's going to probably wind up.
They could have did it without Gobert too. Like, I know he cried, but
those are my problems. Draymond and Gobert. Like, why do we need all these centers?
But Gobert's like 17 and 12 though this year, right?
Yeah, but if you look at the East, Joel Embiid's the only center they got. So I would have liked to see maybe they would like a little bit more guard or forward orientated.
I don't know, unless you want to go for height, because sometimes that height can give you the advantage down low in the paint. So I don't know.
Why can't my man Anthony Davis? Why is he not in it? I mean,
because he's brittle. He's brittle.
I understand he's been hurt.
You don't want Anthony Davis down there.
I guarantee you, if LeBron was hurt all year, I guarantee you he'll still be awesome.
Hey, Freddie, did you hear Anthony Davis's new nickname is Glass Leg?
Yeah,
you know, last leg.
He's dominant right now.
I thought it was street clothes.
No, he ain't street
clothes. Anthony's nickname is right now. Right now he's okay, but you know tomorrow.
29, 10, and 4 blocks.
That's not his nickname. Day to day.
No.
Day to day. Hey, look, they keep those initials next to his name all the time. D&D. DD. Designated driver. Designated leg.
Not in there. If LeBron, Steph, KD was out most of the year, they would still be in. That's BS.
Anthony Davis is not on that level, and stop that. Like,
that's not true.
He's not on their level.
And here's where we go left, folks. Here's where we go left.
You know what?
Right. You just named Anthony Davis with all those champions and MVPs and all that. Stop it.
I'm implementing a rule for the ASAP network. You have to get drug tested because you just set up.
You need to start it first.
You
the first one to take it.
Anthony Davis not on Rudy Gobert.
Freddie, you're the first one filling that drug test.
I didn't hear you say Gobert. I told you Gobert shouldn't be there.
I'm talking about Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, he's wrong. You mentioned some other names after that, but yeah, neither one of them should be there. I told you, Anthony Edwards should definitely be there in their place.
Not over AD. AD's more exciting.
No, absolutely he should.
He's more exciting than Anthony Edwards? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Me as a fan, I'd rather see Anthony Davis than Anthony Edwards.
Because you're not watching Anthony Edwards, but that's fine.
I do watch him. I love Anthony Edwards. He's having like 27 a game this year. I love him.
Then you're not watching him. You're talking about excitement.
He's exciting, but AD's more exciting. I like to see AD in the post. He gets
not more
in and out.
Not more exciting.
Yeah, it's not more exciting than he's not more exciting than Anthony Edwards. Stop it.
On the East, everybody. It sounds like y'all good on the East side because I have a couple of issues. Y'all good.
I like. A couple of two. One I want to talk about is Darius Garland. I'm really happy to see him get in there. Because he's really had a great year and they're winning. So I'm glad he got rewarded. I will say the one I do got a little question about is Fred VanVleet. Mm-hmm. He's not very efficient. Like if you look at his numbers, and I know for a fact because I got him in fantasy and he's driving me crazy. So he's not as efficient as he should be. So I could see where it would be a question about him. Of course, I'm okay with Zach LaVine, but that VanVleet would be the one that I would have a little question about.
You know what? I would. You know what? I just
go ahead and say it.
I don't like that Anthony Davis not on there. I just really don't.
Oh, we're on the Eastern Conference.
This dude's dominant, man. I mean, I'm watching him right now.
Can we not? Can you go a show without talking about the Lakers? You can't even go a show without going on and talk about the Lakers.
I didn't say. At least I didn't come here and say Russell Westbrook deserved to be on there.
Well, that would be he's more deserving than Anthony Davis.
That would be considered a failed drug test.
No, he's not.
He ain't missed a game. He's like leading the league in minutes.
Listen, let me tell you something. The only thing that Anthony Davis needs to be on is an Ensure commercial for healthy bones. That's the only thing he needs to be on.
And to that point, I hear you on the VanVleet. I agree. I would have liked to have seen Evan Mobley or Jared Allen since it's in Cleveland.
I can't put Evan Mobley. That's too soon for him. But yeah, definitely Jared Allen.
Evan Mobley to me is playing better than Jared Allen.
I was gonna say I think
I just think it's
Mobley's
too soon for Evan Mobley. I don't know.
I think Mobley's a better fit for the All-Star game than Van Vliet.
That's what I was gonna say. He's a little more skilled. I think he would fit a little better in getting up and down, and that portion of the game because he's really agile and he can put it on the deck as well.
And I don't know
what the game moment at your house.
This bias is, but Chris Middleton didn't need to be an All-Star either. There were some other players out there, like I said, we mentioned those two that I think could have been maybe with Durant being out. One of those Cleveland guys will get named. Tyler Hero's had a big bounce back here. I don't know that he's an All-Star.
Yeah, he just started coming on though. He was struggling there for a little bit.
Who out of Cleveland is going to challenge Middleton? That's ridiculous to even put that out there.
Ken, he's averaging 24 and 4. He's been pretty good majority of the year.
No, I'm saying like he's come on strong in the last few weeks or so. But there was a period in the, towards the first half of the season, I should say, is that he kind of struggled there. And he was a little streaky. So he has come on.
Somebody who spends a good amount of money on FanDuel and DraftKings, Chris Middleton also has struggled a lot.
Is it possible that we can get Anthony Davis in on the East?
Can you stop already with that?
AD.
You know what? He can be a coach. He can coach the East.
Yeah.
He can't get hurt.
Yeah. You don't want him playing in an All-Star game anyway. He'll break something.
You know what? You're right. I need them
to keep him as healthy as possible. No extra wear and tear.
You're right. We about to go on a run.
How many
a run where? A run where? To the mini mart?
And so Freddie,
where are you going on a run to? You ain't been on a run the whole damn year.
So Freddie,
except to the ER. That's the run you're going on. You're going on a run to the ER.
Freddie, speaking of teams on a run in the wrong direction, is how much trouble is Brooklyn in? They've lost 6 straight. They lost a bad game last night to Sacramento. James Harden put up a whopping 4 points. Kyrie, I think, had 13 or 14. Another bad beat on DraftKings and FanDuel for me there. But we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Should Brooklyn tank to get away games for Kyrie? And I think they're going a little overboard. Do y'all have any concerns about Brooklyn right now? Freddie, I'll start with you.
Consistent like I am with my Lakers. Once Kevin Durant is back, he's going to cover a lot of stuff up. I'm not too concerned about him because Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant. We know who that brother is. And
was that the last year Kevin Durant? The last year Kevin Durant?
No, this year Kevin Durant's been balling. He's been in MVP conversation.
He always balls. Kevin Durant's a baller. He just can't stay healthy for shit.
Well, we can say that about a lot of players.
We can, but not about Milwaukee.
We don't healthy. Say it, so. And injuries are part of the game, though. But like
Milwaukee stays pretty healthy. Milwaukee is probably one of your better teams out of the East.
Like I was saying, Kevin Durant come back, James Harden can go back into his role of facilitating, and Kyrie, all he got to worry about is scoring. And they are all right. I mean, it's just once the main goal is when they all healthy, they all big three of them is there. They're gonna be hard to beat.
No, it'll be easy to beat, but okay.
No,
okay. Last year the Bucks,
I agree.
The Lux got lucky. If this dude had a half of it,
don't worry, Freddie. One thing I know about history is history repeats itself, but it's okay. If you want to hang on to that narrative, hang on to that narrative.
Now, I would say that my only concern would be is if Kevin Durant is not going to be fully healthy when he comes back. I think that would be the only concern that you would have for Brooklyn, because a healthy KD, along with a healthy James Harden and a healthy Kyrie Irving, we know with that talent level what they'll be able to do. But we all know the most important piece is KD. Like, to what Freddie said, he was playing at an MVP level before he got hurt. Like, he was literally unstoppable out there on the court. So it's just all going to depend on whether or not KD can come back healthy. I think as long as he's able to come back healthy, then they'll be okay. And I think it also kind of, they're 6 now. As long as they could stay 5 or 4, 5, 6 area in that area, then I think they'll be okay.
You get KD down into the mid-20s in terms of minutes played, yeah, okay, maybe we could talk about it. But as long as KD's averaging 35 minutes or better, nah, I'll see you next year.
I think in the playoffs, it'll make a bit of a difference. But real quick, because we talked about Doug Peterson and breaking that, Josina Anderson is reporting that she said it 5 minutes ago. I'm told as this news is being reported on Twitter that Doug Peterson is being hired as the Jags' new head coach. Other candidates who interviewed for the vacancy had yet to be specifically informed. So apparently they didn't even tell the other people they didn't get the job. Those candidates are now finding out on Twitter like the rest of us.
Oh, that's some bullshit. That's BS.
Like Jacksonville. This is a clown show, man. Like the NFL is turning into a clown show. This whole process is turning into a sham.
Yeah, it's not ideal. But Jay, your thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry. What? We got so many thoughts going on. What the thoughts on Doug Peterson?
No, it's Brooklyn and
on the Nets.
No, I mean, listen, they look good on paper, man, because there are Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, and it's hard to deny that. But they don't play enough together for it to really matter. I'm sorry. The entire time this experiment has been together, it's just been one piece here, one piece there, here and there, and maybe a couple of times we'll get all three together. You can't win like that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are Kevin Durant. You're not going to beat the Milwaukee teams that play together night in and night out and got chemistry and got health. You're not going to beat that team. It's just not going to happen for you.
Well, I think you would rather on a positive note, you would rather have these injuries happening now and kind of getting them out the way and them being healthy going into the playoffs as opposed to what happened last year, to where the injuries happen either at the end of the regular season or during the playoffs. So if anything, if you're able to get those things out of the way now on this side, as opposed to going into the playoffs and going to the playoffs healthy, that gives them a better chance.
But that's a lot of what ifs, Kenny.
Oh no,
that's a lot of what we're talking about basing our whole premise on what ifs.
But I think that was partly why. That's why they brought Kyrie back, because they saw the wear and tear that KD was in all of the minutes. To your point, Jay, about all of the minutes that KD was playing, they realized that they was going to have to taper his minutes down in order to make sure that he was healthy. And then, unfortunately, a bad break happened, and the whole knee injury happened before they could start tapering his minutes down. But now this gives him
practice a lot of load.
This going to give him 4 weeks. This is going to give him 4 weeks. I think they said 4 to 6 weeks of not playing, to rest his body, to get his legs underneath him, get his legs healthy again. So it could be a blessing in disguise.
Can I say one thing? Just one thing. A friend of mine, Joe Stevens, who played in the NBA, once said to me, "You only have so many times, so many reps in your knees. So many
jumps. That's what the doctors will tell you that. You only have so many jumps in your legs."
And as we know, Kevin Durant has taken on a lot of significant injuries. I don't know how old Kevin Durant is. Maybe he's in his mid-30s, but that body is way beyond mid-30s. And if you guys don't know this right now, you can hit your wagon to this. This much I do know. He's still a mortal human being. He still only has so many jumps left in that body before it's all done. And out of that, how many of them jumps are in his prime years, and how many jumps are going to lead to other injuries? One false move left, one false move right, one hard bump left, one hard bump right, and you're out of the ball game for Kevin Durant. But I'm just saying, hit your wagon if you want to.
Here's what I'll say to that, though, Jay. I think the difference is, the difference between him and, say, like a person like Anthony Davis, or a guy like maybe even a Ja Morant, or somebody like that, that's always in the air. He's more of a jump shooter. I think the fact that he's more of a jump shooter, that's going to extend his career a lot longer.
So what you're saying is your best player has limitations.
No, I'm not saying these limitations.
No, he's got limitations, because you just said he can't bang.
You totally misunderstood what I was saying.
What are you saying? Because it sounds like limitations.
What I'm saying, no, it's not limitations. It's that you're able to extend your career as opposed to attacking the basket and
Right.
put your body on the line.
That's a limitation.
No,
Michael
Wait.
it's
Kenny,
another way to. That's another way to play the game. It's
Kenny,
Michael-
but
Michael
what you're
Jordan
saying
told
is,
you
to extend your
everyone
career,
has to do it.
I gotta say the perimeter. If I go into the basket, then I run risk of injury. That's a limitation.
I don't think it's a limitation. You just have
smarter.
to
And that's
adjust
been
to
my
how you
issue.
play your game.
That's been my concern with Morant, and I've heard that him and his trainer practice how to fall. Like that's a part of the game, but eventually you will have to learn and adapt because your body will get older. And if you want to play a long time, like Tom Brady and plyometrics or whatever the thing is he did, you don't need to be buff and all that. You have to adjust to extend your career. So
You have to be agile. You have to be flexible and agile.
Yeah, but you don't
That's
have
what
to
gets you longevity.
You jump. No, that's just unrealistic.
I'll bring somebody who plays the NBA game, and I'll bring him in here to tell you personally what it takes. If you want to hear it personally, I mean,
that
I'm just
doesn't
saying.
change the fact that over time you're going to have to adjust because you're not.
Of course, no, adjustment. Yeah, I get that. You do have to
and again, we could do this, Jay. We could do the same thing because my uncle played in the NBA for 17 years, so
I got it.
So
I get it.
But the point of the matter is that
play the game.
when you have a jump shot, and you could go to. I'll take you back kind of to old school. You remember them old guys in the park that they playing in their 40s because they could shoot the ball, and they still keeping up with the younger guys just because they could shoot the ball and they have that IQ. See, when you have that IQ and the skill level, you're able to make adjustments to your game. And to Ray's point, I think that's the challenge for guys. That's what happened.
What happened last year? What happened last year?
He played the majority of the season.
But I'm saying, where did the Brooklyn Nets finish last year? Is what I'm saying.
Right, but what we're talking about Kevin Durant.
I was asking.
He was in the Western Conference Finals. That's where he was at, Jay.
No, the semis.
Did he go to the finals?
No, the semis. That was
the semis or the Western Conference.
No, that was
on the court.
We're talking about Eastern Conference right now, Freddie.
Yeah. No, that was the semifinals. The Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. That's what that was. But yeah,
my personal opinion is I just feel like I think the Nets have a lot of things going against them to make it hard for them to be able to make it to the finals. There's a lot of things working against them that there is working for them. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I understand.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of teams in that boat. But speaking of a team that has some issues, we're a week away from the trade deadline. Does Ben Simmons get traded, and if so, where?
Nope.
I see two no's.
You have Daryl Moore. Were you gonna say something about?
No, go ahead, Freddie.
You have Daryl Morey, man, that's asking for way too much. That he thinks this man thinks that Ben Simmons is worth a dime or a dozen. And then Ben Simmons hurting his trade value by not playing. So they should have moved on for him when they had the chance to get James Harden.
That whole Sacramento thing should have even gone through. I mean, they should have made a trade there even.
They blew it. So I don't see him getting moved until the offseason.
Hell, he's asking for what, 4 first rounders?
I agree. I don't think it's going to happen this season. I think it's going to happen in the offseason, right?
Who's going to get 3 first rounders for Ben Simmons?
Again, and that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to finally come to his senses and realize that the price that he's asking for is just not realistic. Because we're not talking about. See, the problem is, and I think this is what Moore's going to have to realize, is that we're not talking about. You're talking about an all-star, but you're talking about what we were talking about earlier, Jay, an all-star that's flawed. And he has a major flaw. It's not no minor flaw. This is a major
let's be
flaw.
honest. Hey, Kenny, to your point, Washington, rumor has it, Washington has been interested in acquiring Ben Simmons for Bradley Beal, and Bradley Beal has softened from his stance of being loyal to the Wizards to actually contemplating it. But here's the deal: is Daryl Morey? Would he even do that deal? Because he turned down a lot of other good deals. A Bradley Beal for a Ben Simmons, even at fair value, Bradley Beal is at $181 million.
I would do that.
4-year extension, and hold on. And Ben Simmons is at 177 for 5. So the money works.
It does.
But why
I would do that.
I think they would Damian Lillard more, honestly. Or James
I would do that. I would do that in a heartbeat if I'm.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't do that in a heartbeat? But Daryl Morey is so stuck on these damn draft picks and Tobias Harris.
Oh, no, I don't blame you, Ray. If I'm Washington, I'm not doing that deal. But if I'm
we already got a bunch of
Washington is entertaining it. Washington is actually entertaining it.
And to be honest with you, Kuzma might be. He might wind up being a better version of Ben Simmons.
I agree.
Washington was
not trying to give him no respect. I think how this could work out, and the only way I see Daryl Morey coming out looking like a genius is if James Harden has said he's going to opt out and test free agency. If they can sign James Harden versus having to trade for him, and then you can trade Ben Simmons for complementary pieces to put with Embiid and to put with James Harden.
That I don't think they're going to have the problem with that though. Ray is they wouldn't have the cap space to do that.
Yeah, you got to let Tobias Harris go like right now.
Yeah,
unless
you do a sign. Yeah, unless you do a sign.
I mean, it sounds good on paper, but when you do the cap space
the
number,
only way you could do that is if they did a sign and trade. Right. And to be honest, like I'm sure Tobias Harris would be okay with that because he's a New York guy, so he'd come home.
Right. So I think you can move Harris somewhere, then you move Simmons, and you got a new 3. You know, with Harden, whoever you bring in, whether it be Bill, who would be a good fit with them. I don't want Ben Simmons. I pray to God we don't end up with Ben Simmons. But you know, that's.
Hey, would you like Russ?
No, I didn't want Russ here. I didn't want Russ before the trade. I didn't want Russ after he was here doing the trade, and I was so happy once we got rid of Russ. I wouldn't.
I can tell you, hey, but when this trade deadline of February 10th comes and goes, I promise you, Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons will still be 76ers because they're not going to get what he wants. It's too hard to move those guys and get people to go inside with that. He's gonna. The whole thing is gonna go into next year. I guarantee freaking team. And if not, I'll walk down the street butt naked and go to the quad. Hey, listen, I'll go to the quad like Frank the Tank did in old school.
We're gonna pass on that. We don't.
No. It's a beautiful. I have a beautiful butt according to my wife.
Well, we're not her, so we don't want to see
too much information.
I'm sorry, man. I tend to do that. I apologize.
Hey, Ray, I give you Russ for KCP.
The money don't matter. But I would not do that. KCP, he sucks.
You don't get your clearance sale.
But
KCP was good in LA. They should never let go of KCP. He fit that mold.
KCP didn't suck with Russ.
You stuck with Russ. Give it up.
You really are. No. You can thank LeBron for that, Freddie. You can thank your LeBron for that.
Saw Russ with Beal. It didn't work. Could you imagine
you can thank
Ben Simmons together? That would be awful. So no, I don't want any of those bums that can't shoot. And they shoot. I don't want a bum that can't shoot, and I don't want a bum that can't shoot but shoots in volume. I don't want neither one of them.
Truthfully, I'll be honest with you, Freddie. I'll be honest. It won't work, but your best bet, honestly, would have been a John Wall for Russell Westbrook trade because neither one of them are going to be playing.
John Wall
would play, but Russell Westbrook would be going to sit. The money works out the same, but they don't have any draft picks to make it work. Because I will tell you this: Houston's going to want draft picks. They're going to want something to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, but they
don't have no draft picks.
I disagree.
John Wall would have helped you out. John Wall would have given you a point guard.
Houston needs a bunch of draft picks. They got a bunch of young talent. I think they need more veterans, unlike Eric Gordon, that can actually play. They don't need more young talent.
But they want young veterans that are at least in the mid or the early 20s to make that team work.
But I don't think the draft picks would be the issue. But my question for you, Freddie,
but John Wall would have helped you.
My question for you, Freddie, is LeBron really hurt, or is LeBron quitting on the Lakers and on his way out the door?
I don't
Here's
even know what.
here's your Lakers topic for the night, Freddie. Go.
I don't even know why this is even a topic.
No, it's a topic, and I'll tell you why in a minute. It's a good topic, by the way, Ray. Good topic, and I'll tell you why. But go ahead, Freddie.
Is your name Fred? Is your name Jason? Jay, which one is it?
I don't know, man. I identify as African American, so I'm going to go with Freddie.
LeBron is he's dealing with knee soreness, man. I mean, just think about it. He's in year 19, 37 years old. I mean, he's been working that knee, kicking that knee.
Was LeBron not at the Rams game, standing up the whole entire time? Was he not standing the entire time?
Not recently, no.
On the sidelines?
Not recently, no. That was earlier in the year.
No, that was the last game.
It wasn't
that was the last game, Freddie.
No, he was not at the last game.
You want to bet me on this? You want to put some money on it?
You want to bet me on this?
Yes, I actually really do. I want to put money on this. I want to put money on it, Freddie. I'll put money on it.
Unlike Ray, I'll do that to you so I can finish. But like I was saying, man, even if he's not, even if he's just resting, he's just getting ready so he can go because he knows this run they about to go on is about to be an unbelievable run. And that's why we're seeing Anthony Davis play the way he's playing now. Ray, pull up Anthony Davis stats just for the night. I'm going to show you what kind of start that this man is going on. He didn't went to AD and said, AD, I need you to play dominant. When I get back, we're going to put this pie together, and it's going to taste better than apple, blueberry, cherry, peach pie, all of it. It's going to be the
best. You said his stats for tonight versus the Clippers? Tonight. He has 8 and 5.
Woo! And that's just getting started. Watch it turn to 35 and 18. Just watch.
You had me look up those stats. 8 and 5, and they're tied with the Clippers without Kawhi and without Paul George, and they have their whole team outside of LeBron. I'm supposed to be excited about
outside of LeBron and Kendrick Nunn.
Kendrick Nunn ain't been there all year, so he don't even count.
Yeah.
All right, I can't believe we just took a. I don't.
For the game that just started, 8 and 5 look pretty damn good.
You know what looks real good? Clay's 5 for 5 for 3 from right now. How about that? That looks good.
AD not a shooter like that though.
My point is 7. Clay just hit another one. He's 6 of 7 with 20 points in 10 minutes. Those are the reasons you tell me to get my phone.
That's vintage Clay right there.
Now, as I was sharing, it sounds like you guys don't believe. Well, Jay does. Freddie doesn't. So, Kenny, what do you think? Is LeBron quitting? Is he load managing, or what's going on?
He's load managing. And Freddie, what did I say before the season started? Oh no, there's no way LeBron will be load managing. Oh no way, no sir. He's not going to let the fans down. Now he's sitting out with a sore knee. You're gonna start listening to me, young man. I'm telling you, I keep trying to tell you, I keep trying to teach you. I know this
tell
game,
your brother
man.
He muted, man. Tell your brother he muted.
So it's low. It's low, man.
Hey,
he's not quitting. It's not quitting. He's low, man.
Because you heard Charles Oakley said that.
I don't want to hear Charles Oakley said. Tell him not to get kicked out of Madison Square Garden.
He
watch your mouth.
He said the reports are him and LeBron are close. So he's speaking potentially from a privileged position.
He is from Cleveland, so it's possible.
That's overhyped, man. Ain't nobody Barkley not in that circle where he knew what LeBron's doing. Listen, man, and this is on some real talk. It's not even me being a fan of him. His son's out there in school, his wife love it out there, his business partners out there, his business venture. LeBron knows at this stage of his career, basketball is what it is, but at the end of the day, it's all about family and what he's doing.
But if you only got a year or two left, don't you want to maximize that year or two?
We are. The year not over yet. You act like the year over yet. The season is not over, Ray.
I'm talking.
No, but he's just taking a little mid-season break. We'll see. Now watch, he'll be miraculously recovered in time for the All-Star game. We'll see. He'll miraculously recover.
Your brother having a whole conversation.
Kenny, I'm watching that. That's a good point. Will he play in the?
He will miraculously recover. Right in time for the All-Star game.
He'll
Okay.
be back next week.
All right. So with that being said, you say next week, yeah, right in time for the All-Star game. He'll play one. He ain't gonna show up for the All-Star game. He'll play one game, and then
he'll play that Tuesday. He'll play that because I think they go on break that either that Tuesday or Wednesday. So he'll play that last game before the All-Star break, just to let everybody know.
If he wait that long, he won't, because the Lakers normally don't play him the last game. They have the last couple years.
They gonna give him one just for optics. But
so actually, he might play Saturday night against the Knicks because it's a prime time game.
Woo! He shouldn't he?
He might.
That should be an easy
he
dub.
might go to 61 like old Kobe did that time. You remember that, Kenny?
No, I don't remember that.
And just to give an update, the Clippers are now beating the Lakers 43-41. But we're not going to spend any more time talking about those losing teams with losing records. Can anybody?
Like the Wizards?
I didn't bring the Wizards up. I try not to talk about the Wizards. I recognize what they are. I just think I need to put more respect on Kyle Kuzma's name. But is there anyone right now that can beat the Phoenix Suns? Freddie.
Right now. Are we talking about like right now? Like right now?
If the finals were today, could anybody beat the Suns in a 7-game series?
Yeah.
Who? And please don't say the Lakers.
You should qualify that. Besides someone else besides the Lakers.
You got the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't think they have an answer for Giannis. You got the Miami Heat, man, that that's not gonna make it easy for the Suns. They're gonna get all up in them. They're gonna make it tough for them. They're gonna make them work. So
you don't think anyone in the West?
No, not really. Not with the Joker,
Really?
the Nuggets, them.
Not the Golden State? Because that's who I think. I think Golden State. I think two teams.
I think the Suns. I think Golden State size. I think the Phoenix size with Aiden and McGee will make a difference.
I get it, but I think also the offensive firepower that Golden State has, they can kind of match wits with them in terms of their offensive firepower. Because to me, Phoenix offensively is Devin Booker and Chris Paul. Like you can slow down those other guys. You can slow down the guy in the wing. I can't think his name. He went to Villanova. You could slow down.
Bridges?
Yeah, Mikal Bridges. You could slow down Jay Crowder. Those guys kind of run hot and cold, and sometimes they don't. I do think Ayton would be an issue for them. I think it's really important that James Wiseman. Hopefully, he's able to get back at some point.
What's up with that dude? What did he hurt? Like
he had a meniscus. He had
He's been out
meniscus.
all year though. He was supposed to come back around before Clay, then around.
Yeah. So that's a little surprise. So I'm hoping that he gets back because they can really use him.
I mean, Looney's been playing great, but he is another big athletic big.
Yeah, they need another one. They need another one because Looney is pretty much the only big that they have because Bajilla, however you say his name, he's more of a stretch guy. He's not a guy that's going to really bang the paint. So yeah, Bielitsa, yeah. So I think they're and the other team that I would watch out for is Memphis. I think those are two teams that could give Phoenix a really good series.
See, I just don't think Memphis matches up well with Phoenix.
Hey, Ray, AD at 10-6 now.
Are they winning?
Yeah, but they're losing, Freddie.
Man.
They're losing. Freddie, they're losing.
They're winning.
Yeah, stay focused, man.
Are they?
They're losing.
Oh, they're up one.
Yeah, 48-46. No, now it's 49-46. Clippers.
Oh yeah, I'm on my phone, so I'm
timeout.
Yeah, I'm not impressed by 10-6. When the big on the other team is who? He's being guarded by Serge Ibaka. And you only got 10 at halftime. You should be in the 20 range. You should be going for 40 or 50.
Double teaming them, triple teaming them.
I love it. I love it when the Lakers just get their asses.
They're down.
Yeah, AD has a good game.
Quote unquote. He almost has the most minutes on the court, and he has a -4 ±. So he's not contributing to winning. he's actually contributing to losing.
I don't care about none of that. That's what
winning's not
analytic people do.
Who
I
cares
don't care about
about winning?
Who cares
Winning's
about
not,
the score?
winning's
Who
not
cares
important
about
at
the
all.
score? Yeah, who
Yeah.
cares
Joe,
about the score?
Why do
I
they
got a
even
question.
keep score?
I got a
just
question
tell us
getting
that.
for you. Was analytics and all that stuff big with Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and play? This is this new age stuff. Ain't nobody care
Nobody's
about
talking
that.
about analytics. We're talking about winning and losing.
But you brought up the analytical.
Yeah,
Well,
plus,
not everything,
no,
but not everything
but
is in the stat line.
I'm-
Ray. No,
I'm
hold
not-
on, Ray. Not everything is in the stat line. There's a lot of things that
but
aren't
I was gonna,
part of the
but
stat
plus
line.
minus out of all of the analytics, and I'm not the biggest fan of analytics, but plus minus is definitely is one of the ones that are a really good indicator that you can. To me, that's one of the few that's a good indicator in terms of your impact on what's going on while you're on the court.
Well, it's really
So,
good regular season analytics. Really good regular season. Let's see the postseason analytics.
-4 is the worst plus minus in this game, just for the record. That's
Who's
Anthony
it out?
Davis.
Based on the Clippers. Who's it
yo,
over?
man.
The Clippers are all pluses except Hartenstein, who's played a total
Who's
of 7
negative
minutes.
4 then?
He don't even know who
Anthony
Hartenstein is.
Davis is
AD.
-4.
Huh.
Yeah.
Mid bag of shells, right?
So they'd probably be better if he wasn't playing based on the plus minus. That's just what the numbers say.
I'll show you. I'll send it to you after the game.
But yeah, ultimately, it's been a hectic week. We are on our way through this lovely Pro Bowl weekend. Hopefully, we'll get some LeBron action this weekend. So before we get out of here, I do want to give everybody a chance to kind of send us off. So, Freddie, if you have something non-Lakers related, we'd love to hear from you.
Hey, man, I just want to tell everybody here at the ASAP Network, keep putting in their work. You guys see this coming 2023. Hey, man, it's coming nowhere but up from here. Let's keep grinding, and let's keep pushing.
Kenny, what you got for us?
Man, I just really hope that we can see some type of resolution, some transparency when it comes to this minority hiring issue. Like I'm getting really frustrated with this whole thing. So I want to see some progress or some things change or whatever it takes. Or and finally salute to Brian Flores for taking the stand he took and stepping out there and being a face for this. Considering the ramifications of it and the possible ending his career as a coach. The fact that he took this stand, I just want to salute him for that and wish him, all the best and hopefully something good comes out of this and he can be remembered as a hero. Because to me, for him to do this, it takes a lot of courage and I just salute him and wish him all the best. That's what I wanted to say.
Kenny, real follow up, and anybody can speak on this because I did actually mean to bring this up earlier, but we kind of went in a different direction. So Flores has come out with his lawsuit, and he's been really vocal. Like we've heard from him almost every day on different talk shows. And then we remember when Cap kneeled, he would speak after maybe end of games, but he didn't really go on a media tour. Do you think Cap missed the mark by not going on that type of media tour and kind of fading away? Or do you think Flores should have kind of took more of that approach where he's been more quiet and just let the legal process play out without speaking?
No, I'm actually glad that Flores did that. I think the light needed to be shined on him. I think that puts the pressure on the NFL because, like we said earlier, they were basically trying to sweep this under the rug, saying it had no merit without even taking, any look into it or doing anything in terms of investigation. So I'm glad that he went on the media tour, and I'm glad that he's shining the light on this. And because we need to get mainstream America needs to get involved with this. Mainstream America needs to know what's going on here, so that the pressure can be put on the NFL because enough is enough. So I'm glad that he did it. And I honestly, I wish that, in hindsight, I wish that Kaepernick would have done that because maybe that would have could have rallied more people behind him and got behind his cause and again put the pressure on the NFL.
All right, Jay, what you got for us on your way out?
I've heard several times now, and I've read it a few times in comments and Twitters and things of that nature, where they try to say, they're trying to compare Brian Flores to Rosa Parks, things like that. And I don't like that, because Rosa Parks, when it happened, she didn't wait. Rosa Parks took a stand right from the jump, right when it happened. She took all the heat. And it takes a lot to take heat. It takes a lot for a person's character to stand up for what's right and do what's right. And I love Brian Flores. Like I said, he's a great coach, he's a great human being, everything like that. But what I would have liked to see from Brian is the moment they asked him to take games at $100,000, I would like him to take the stance a little bit earlier in 2019 and taking this stance on, because and I give him all the credit. He's doing it now and it's great. But where would we be 2 years ago in terms of coaching hires? Have we been 2 years ahead of when it first happened? You know what I'm saying? Everything is always fresh when it first happens. So, I'm just saying, hey, look, that's just my 2 cents on it. You can say whatever it is. Compare him to Rosa Parks, when Rosa Parks took the stand right from the jump and took all the heat.
What do you mean? So do you think Rosa Parks never sat? She only always.
I'm saying, I don't know. I wasn't back then. I wasn't alive back in those days. I just know what my history did. And tell me if you know different. But my history book told me, they told her to go to the back of the bus, and she said, "Hell no, I'm sitting right here, and you can take it or leave it."
But that's my question. You're comparing her as if saying that.
No, I'm not. I said that it has been said. It has been compared. They're comparing Rosa Parks to Brian Flores.
And you don't like it because she took action immediately.
No, I don't like it when Brian Flores in 2019 should have stood up and said, "Hey, this is wrong, and I'm sticking up, and I'm not taking this crap, and you're not going to put this on me. Here's where we are, NFL. 2019, Miami Dolphins told me to tank games for $100,000. This is where we are. Deal with it."
If that's what I'm saying. That Rosa Parks never sat in the back of the bus, I think that's.
I don't know. If you were alive back then, I wasn't.
But
I only know my history books tell me.
I don't see that equivalency, and it rubs a little wrong because you're assuming something that we don't know.
No, I'm not assuming anything. I'm just saying that people. It has been compared in comments, Rosa Parks to Brian Flores, and I'm just bringing that to light. I'm not saying anything.
And you're disagreeing with it based on something you don't know to be true. That's my issue.
I don't know. You tell me what's true or not true. Why didn't Brian Flores stand up and say something?
I didn't criticize the comparison. You're criticizing the comparison because you're saying he shouldn't be in the same breath as her because he waited 2 years and she didn't wait. But you don't know that she
didn't wait. See, from what my history book, and like I said, if you know more about history than I do, be the guy that educates me, because I'm a sponge and I'll listen. But what I was taught in grade school was that when Rosa Parks was in the bus, they was told to stand, and she didn't, and she stood her ground. That's what I was taught. I only know what I'm taught, Ray. I only know what I'm taught.
But I think, and again, we weren't there. It's hard.
And I might be ignorant, and if I'm ignorant, I'm ignorant. I take
believe. So I have 2 frame of thoughts. Let me finish. One, it's hard for me to believe she's never sat in the back of the bus. Is that possible? Yes, but it's unlikely. Or I feel like we would have had this incident long before that point in her life. Secondly, the fact that we don't know, and you are speaking as if it did happen. That to me is
I'm speaking. No. Ooh, no. I said what I've seen on Twitter and other accounts. I'm just bringing that to light. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that Rosa Parks took the stand, and they are no. But I said, to quote me accurately, Ray. To quote me accurately, and I want to be quoted accurately. To quote me accurately, I said what I heard and what they compared it to, and I said if that is true, it's not a true comparison. Well, that's all I said. That's my point. That's all I said, Ray. Just quote me accurately, Ray.
You are saying I did. You said it's not a true comparison, and I'm challenging.
You can't compare Rosa Parks to Brian Flores, but I'm saying that's what I've seen.
Right. So that's my point. You are saying you can't make that comparison.
Yeah, you can't make the comparison between Brian. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm bringing to light.
Based on what? You can't.
Based on what I know, based on my knowledge of Rosa Parks, and based on my knowledge of Brian Flores, that's my knowledge, right?
But you don't even know. You're making a comparison on something you don't know.
And that's what I'm saying. I bring it to light because I think that what is being said out there is wrong.
Based on
that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything.
I agree. I hear you. You're saying he shouldn't be compared to her. And I'm saying, why not? And your basis for why he shouldn't be compared is based on something you don't know.
Well, what we know is he waited 2 years. That's what I do know. I know he waited 2 years on something that is a moral and ethical situation, and he took it when he should have stood up and said it's when he should have stood up and said it's wrong.
And that's very, very easy for you to say, but it
is easy for me to say. It's harder to do. It's harder for the action, right? The action is harder to do.
So I get it. Saying is,
you can't say why did it take him so long? Why didn't he stand up then?
Do you think Martin Luther King spoke out the first time something happened to him?
Huh?
Do you think Martin Luther King spoke out the first time something happened to him?
I don't know what I read by Martin Luther King by what I read in the textbooks.
And if you continue to read and do your research, there was more stuff that happened to them.
I agree. I'm sure there was, right?
The first time they faced injustice, they didn't speak up. And so to put that on Brian Flores as if it's his responsibility that the first time something wrong happens to him, he needs to speak up, that's unfair.
Okay.
Because I can count. There are countless people that we celebrate today who didn't speak up the first time something happened. And that's not a shame. That's not to disparage them. There people have.
I'm not shaming or disparaging anybody. I want to make sure we're clear. I'm not
criticizing him and saying he should have did this.
I do believe that. I think if you want to take a stand, take a damn stand. Don't BS it. Take a stand. Don't BS it. Take a stand. Do the right thing.
I vehemently disagree. And I think
that's okay. That's what makes this country great, Ray. This is why I joined the military. I joined the military to have a right to an opinion.
To tell a black man that he should have spoke up sooner. Okay, so you're going to say
if you see something that's wrong,
you feel the same way about
something that's wrong, speak up.
So if a rape victim should have spoke up immediately. So all these people that are coming out against Snyder from 13 years ago, we don't need to listen to them. They shouldn't get any credit.
Hey, listen, I'll put Snyder in that same group. Hey, Snyder did wrong. I know Snyder did wrong, and I hope that justice happens.
But you're saying when something happens to you, you need to speak up immediately, or you don't get credit.
I didn't say that.
That's what you're saying. You should speak up. I'm just saying. Waited 2 years, so he should have spoke up when it initially happened.
In 2019, he should have spoke up. Yes, that's what I'm saying. In 2019, he should have spoke up. That's what I'm saying.
And then you're also celebrating people that didn't do that.
And didn't. No, I'm not celebrating. Who am I celebrating? What words are you putting in my mouth?
Martin Luther King did not speak up the first time something happened to him. That's documented. So do you not celebrate Martin Luther King?
I don't know. I'm not going back to Martin Luther King. You're not going to get me into that conversation. Hell the fuck
exactly.
No. Because you can shut the fuck up. I'm not going that conversation.
Right.
Hell no. You're not giving me Martin Luther. No, you ain't taking me down that road. You can take that road by yourself. I'm not going that road.
Listen.
You can go that road by yourself. I'm not going that road.
But if one person is going to stand up, then they should be credited for standing up. You don't punish them or criticize them and say you shouldn't be compared to somebody because you waited too long. That's absurd.
All right. This is another great episode of Real Talk. We'll be back this upcoming Monday to go over the Super Bowl picks and all that great stuff. You guys have a good rest of y'all night.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation.